Hello and welcome to episode 7 of The Coach. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Minges, and this is like my video diary of going through the early days of coaching my son's under-8 basketball team. This is my first experience in coaching, and both of my boys are playing in the same team, so I thought this is a great opportunity not only to give them a gentle introduction to the world of basketball, but also spend some time with them and share a passion of mine with them that I experienced as a kid growing up. For a number of years, I've played a lot of basketball, and I hate to start this episode off like this because it's not something I like to do. I like to try and keep referees out of the conversation, but the referee out on the weekend was terrible in my opinion. Not that he wasn't making correct calls. Like it's not about, they're making more calls to the other team, it's totally unfair. It wasn't anything to do with that. It was from the first minute, one of my boys went down and scored a basket, just dribbled through a few people, was dribbling the ball, stopped, took a few extra steps, took another dribble, and traveled again and scored. And the ref called travel and ruled out the basket. And, I looked to my wife on the side. I was like, wow, that's a bit harsh, but fair enough. It's going to be one of those games. And normally in this sort of age bracket, the refs are very lenient when it comes to traveling because not all the kids know the basics yet, and it's hard for them to control the ball, dribble. This is like their learning experience, and they're not always going to get it right, and it's confidence for them that they can be able to do these things, and sometimes they'll do it, sometimes they won't, but we're not going to punish them for doing the wrong thing. And like I said, a lot of the refs are very lenient. They let a lot go. Kids travel, they step out of bounds by accident, and it's usually just let them play because they make so many mistakes that if you were to referee the game properly, there would be no flow. The game would be stop-start continuously, and everyone gets confused. So, as long as the kid's not running the length of the court, just running with the ball, traveling is okay at this level, in my opinion anyway. And it's the way it's been since I can remember as a kid as well. And even, watching my kids play this year for the first time, 99% of referees let it go. But this week it was a bit more. The ref tried to call up a lot of the kids on both teams. I'm not just saying for my team, on both teams, was calling up the kids for taking a few extra steps. But most of the time, in my opinion, it was a bit too much to call up the kids on traveling like that, because he couldn't do it for every time the kids traveled, which is basically every time they get the ball. So he would call a travel in one phase of play, and he would say to the kids, you got to dribble the ball, and they were all right. And then the next time they do it, they would travel and do the same thing, or someone else would travel and do the exact same thing, and the ref wouldn't pull them up. But then like 5 minutes later, he'd pull them up again, and the kids looked confused. One of the kids on my team got a little bit upset because it was his turn to come off and have a sit on the bench for a couple of minutes. Not long after, he got pulled up for a travel, which he was a little bit confused about because he did dribble a few times, but then he took a few steps and the ref called him up. And seeing him upset was also not something you want to see the kids experience at this level. You want to see them have fun and enjoy themselves. So you just let them play. Anyway, I didn't want to... That was a frustrating aspect because it's something that you can't control, and although there were parts of me that really just wanted to go up and not tell the ref off or anything, but just discuss with him and just say, look, I think the kids are a bit confused. You're calling some travels and some fouls that you don't call all the time. But I thought it wouldn't be worth that trouble. It just let it go, and what can you do? The ref's learning as well, I guess. They were recording the game on the sidelines. Probably the Referees Association or whatever, they use that recordings for some of them for, I guess, training purposes. So maybe that's something they also would have picked up on. I don't know, but I do consider myself pretty reasonable in seeing other people's point of view on these things, and I don't say it lightly. That I thought the ref had a bad game. It's not something that I usually harp on about with any of like the teams that I played on with my parents when I was discussing the games, with my kids watching other games, footy, basketball, soccer, whatever. I try my best never to argue with referees and everything like that. That's how I was raised. You can talk to them as humans and ask them, hey, what did I do wrong there? I don't want to do it again. A lot of the times I think that I get the ball cleanly in a block, but then the ref would call a foul and I'd ask them, what can I do next time? I thought that was clean. And a lot of them were cool with discussion because it's fine to talk to somebody as a human and not berate them for doing something wrong, which, it's my opinion against theirs at the end of the day. And so I think it's only fair that you can talk to somebody as a human, discuss those kinds of things. At the end of the day, it's the ref's decision to do whatever they want to do because that's their job on the day, is to referee the game how they see it, not how I see it, which is unfortunate because the game was a bit all over the place for both teams. We did lose and the other team was much better. It was just a combination of that sort of disconnect with the kids, with the game stopping and starting a few extra times more than they were used to. I think a few of the kids sort of, their concentration dipped in the game and they weren't really into it like they were last week. Last week we won our first game. They did amazing. And I noticed very early on that a few of them it could have just been the time of day was a bit later in the afternoon, just a coincidence, or maybe that the game was a little bit more stop-start than normal. A few of them were not, their heads weren't really there. So they were sort of looking around. They weren't ready when a ball came near them. And they just weren't doing the things that I've seen them do for the last couple of weeks up to this point. And so my challenge this week, when calling timeouts and at halftime and, throughout the game, talking to them on the bench, I was trying to find ways to try and get them re-engaged with the game. And I don't think I did a very good job at it. Not because I did something completely wrong, but whatever I tried to talk to them about, it probably didn't really work. So one of them was, I told some of the kids that I thought they were amazing a lot of the times when they would go up and defend people and, be right up in their face and follow them around. And because I didn't really see too many kids do that, I pointed a few kids out and said, you guys are the best three at defending. I want to see you guys show everyone else what to do kind of thing. I want to see you guys show everybody else how to defend really close to somebody and don't let them shoot. I was trying to make a positive statement about them, something they could do really well, which they weren't actually doing during that game, which I know they could do. And it didn't really work. A couple of them went out back onto the game excited, a bit more excited to show something. But then, a minute or two later, it's like they forgot about it kind of thing. Just overall, I don't know how much I could have got out of them because at the end of the day, they are 5, 6 and 7 years old. A lot of them don't have the same concentration levels, like I've said a few times. Some of them are really involved in the game the whole time, they're really energetic and they're always into whatever passage of play is happening. A few of them aren't really involved till we get the ball or till the other team get the ball and they can defend or only attack, and they're sort of in between, not sure what to do exactly, or their head's not really there. So some of it I know is just a maturity thing and out of my control. But I do feel kind of responsible that I should be able to maybe try and get their concentration a bit. And being a rookie in this situation, I don't know exactly what to do. So if you have any advice about anything at all, even if it's not about keeping kids' concentration in the game or getting it back after a weird start, I'd love to hear your suggestions. So leave a comment down below. I read everything. Everyone who's left any comments, any advice in DMs, I appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening to me rant again this week. Hopefully next week I'll be back with a bit more of a positive spin on things. But this week's game is living rent-free in my head. Just a mix of that referee and not being able to get the kids into the game. It feels like I wish I could have done more. It's rent-free, right? It's just stuck. It's stuck in my head. But thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.